I started out many years ago thinking about education, in part because I was a teacher for a number of years. And I thought that the only problem was that white folks were in control of the public schools. And then I began to see that what's necessary is what I call a paradigm shift. That we have to look at how the schools are structured, when the schools were structured, and why are kids dropping out? They're born into a different world. They come from a different culture. So we have a lot of changes to make in our own thinking. And the likelihood is that the immediate answer is more to think in terms of race and ethnicity. And all we do if we think that way is we don't solve the problem and we make the race question worse. I don't believe that these ethnic distinctions ought to matter. And I believe, by and large, that a lot of young people, particularly, don't have any use for them any longer. We're able to think much more in terms of horizontal relationships. So the world is changing, and we have to change our concept of education to go along. We have to create a paradigm shift, and that's happening. There's a group in Detroit that grew out of that was created mostly by veterans of Detroit Summer. They organized the Relied Media Conference, which will be held this year, the weekend before the U.S. Social Forum. They're creating another kind of education which is very different from the vertical top-down education of the industrial age, when schools were very patterned very much along the lines of the factory. And they teach one another. It's another way of dealing with one another as partners rather than as supervisors. We've become so used to this sort of vertical, hierarchical relationship between people that we don't recognize that the new technology is giving us an opportunity to relate horizontally, that we can create partnerships.